And so I recently reviewed the RG351P, which is a plastic emulation machine, one that I really liked and one that I used for a little bit. But the biggest thing about it that I didn't like was that it had a plastic shell. So shortly after, I actually came across this metal model over here and realized that this was, in fact, the upgraded version of the RG351P. So with that said, introducing the RG351M. Not the upgrade that I was necessarily expecting, but one that I don't really regret going for. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Before we continue, don't forget that I have a Twitch channel that you can go ahead and follow me on for live microphone reviews and much more than that. But you're also going to find my Twitter, my Instagram, and a link to the Tech Summit Discord in the description. So come join the community because it is a pretty cool one. We've also opened up a Patreon as of late where if you join, you'll be automatically entered to win one tech gadget every month in our exclusive giveaways. Details to that are going to be down below. Don't forget to check out the description for everything. Now let's get right into the video. So now in this review, I really won't be getting so in depth with it since I've already done a more comprehensive review of the RG351P, and these two are very similar. But the unboxing is literally identical minus the missing wireless adapter and the glass screen protector that is also not here. The exterior design consists of the biggest reason why I made the switch, and that's the fact that it has an aluminum body instead of plastic. The buttons and the triggers are going to be exactly the same, but because this is a metal body, a sturdier body for that matter, these all feel a lot more solid to press. When it comes to the analog sticks, the buttons, the triggers, everything on this just feels more solid, which I definitely prefer, and it was something that I was asking for. And this one overall does feel like a much more premium device, and trust me, this does feel much nicer in hand. This time I actually went with the silver model, and I do think that it looked pretty good this way. So there isn't really much here that's new about this device, if I'm completely frank. The RG351M just has Wi-Fi built in now, which is too many. It could be actually a pretty big deal here. Or for me, I've actually just used it for scraping for game artwork, and another point about it is that it does make it easier to play with others as well. Now the metal body is the more obvious change here though, but I do consider this to be a bigger deal. However, the screen is going to be pretty much exactly the same, buttons are the same, the storage capacity is going to be the same, the speakers are the same, everything else is the same as the RG351P minus those things that I just mentioned. And this is still the display that I've very much grown to love. It is still very beautiful and colorful. I don't have any complaints about this display, as playing just about any game on it has been a total joy and a superior experience than what you would get out of even a native hardware, depending on the console of course. So when it comes to games performance, that is also very much identical to the RG351P, which in short is still very good performance for a handheld like this. It does run PSP, N64, SNES, and PS1 pretty well, with questionable Dreamcast and Nintendo DS performance, along with some other ones, but this actually has a bunch of different emulators that I wouldn't be able to cover here. However, some games do end up running at 60 frames per second, like some PSP games, which is honestly really awesome to me. This feels like a great experience. The UI is also very simple and easy to navigate, which is great. I will say, however, that the metal body does make the buttons feel more solid, so gaming on this was more enjoyable than on the RG351P, but that's just my own experience and my own opinion. And as for battery life, it is also going to be identical. This will get about 5 hours on average, though it is rated to last a little bit longer than that. More realistically, it won't last quite as long as it's rated, but I still think that it's got pretty good battery life for what it is. Now let me touch on some of my complaints. With an upgrade like this, I really would have loved to see a processor upgrade to hopefully get better performance with certain systems, even if you can't force it to play PlayStation 2 games or GameCube games. I do think that that's acceptable. Also, the volume wheel is still very cheap feeling, unlike on the RG350M, which I really loved the buttons on that one. Also, there is one downside with going with the metal body, and that's the fact that if the shell gets too cold, the system will literally freeze up and won't turn on until it warms up, which was an issue I never had with the plastic models, so do keep that in mind. But that's really it. They did address some of the issues that I had before, which mostly had to do with mushy buttons, but the metal shell kind of ended up fixing that issue for me. However, I really just wanted more out of this device. Like, I wanted the HDMI port of the RG350M for being able to play games on my TV while using this as the controller, and a stronger processor in particular would have actually helped a lot when it came to consistent performance in certain games. But my thoughts are more positive about the system than they were for the RG351P, and that model was really awesome to me. I really liked it. It's not the upgrade that I wanted from this model, but it is an upgrade that I'm still very happy with. So with that said, strongly recommend it if you don't already have the RG351P by a chance, since you won't really gain much otherwise from it. But I'm a bit of a fool, and I really wanted that metal shell, so yeah. And if you're interested in purchasing this system, then I'll be making sure to leave affiliate links down to Amazon in the description. You're also going to be finding links to ABUNDA, which is going to be a great service for helping you finance things. You don't need a credit card at all, so like if you weren't entirely sure on whether or not you wanted to try this thing out, ABUNDA is going to be a great way of going about it, because you don't really have to pay for it outright, but instead you can just do very simple financing for it, and you can still get all of your money back if you end up not liking it, of course. So with that said, links to that down below. If you end up using any of my links, I do get a small commission that does support the channel quite a bit, so I'd appreciate that quite a bit. And also, there's going to be the Tech Summit Patreon, which you did indeed launch very recently, which for as little as $5 a month, you're going to get exclusive access to uncensored, unfiltered, bonus exclusive podcast episodes from the Tech Summit podcast, and also you're going to be immediately automatically included into our monthly giveaways for tech gadgets that we've reviewed on this channel with a minimum of $50 values. So do make sure to get on there, and we very much would appreciate it in case of anything. So do make sure to stay tuned. And don't forget that we also do have the Tech Summit podcast, which does go live every Wednesday and Sunday. So do make sure to subscribe to this channel for that. I like to stream on Twitch as well. Links to that down below. There's going to be the Tech Summit Discord if you want to keep in touch when it comes to upgrades, or if you just have any questions for me directly, make sure to drop them down over there. There's also the rest of my social media, like my Instagram and my Twitter. But with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy!